This is the K-Pop Cast, and in this week's episode, we're doing a deep dive into Lisa's first studio album, Alter Ego, and the title track, Buck Up the World.
We also share hit replays from G-Dragon and Shia Junsu.
Hey, but before we get into those topics, don't forget to join the K-Pop Cast listener fam on Slack and help chip in for the show's costs. Links to both of those in the episode description.
And now for hit replay.
I'm Stephanie.
And I'm your PD new Michaela, guys. And hit replays are, of course, our K-pop song recommendations for the week. And kick us off, Stephanie. I think you have one of the most popular releases, crowd favorites, at least within the past few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a treat when there's multiple bangers coming out in the same week. We get to talk about all of them. And so my hit replay for the week is G-Dragon featuring Anderson .Paak, Too Bad.
Baby girl, too bad for me. There you go, took that ass on me. All I want is an arm's reach. Break me off passionately. Baby girl, too bad for me. There you go, took that ass on me. All I want is an arm's reach. Break me off passionately.
All right, so G-Dragon doesn't really need an introduction, but he's the front man of trailblazing K-pop group from the second gen, Big Bang. And he is making his legendary comeback, topping the charts with his first studio album in many, many years.
So many years.
Yeah, so many. Too many years. He's been through a lot as well. And so we just love to see him coming back on the scene. He's still got that swag. I feel like can't nobody touch his swag. The way he moves, the way he raps, the way he dresses is just so distinct in K-pop and globally. So it just makes me smile to hear his voice. It's so nostalgic. And this track, Too Bad, is a groovy, funky, fun, and light track that actually gives a lot of airtime to the feature artist, Anderson .Paak. And I kind of have mixed feelings about that. Love me some Anderson, love me some Silk Sonic. Just a little bit about Anderson .Paak is he's actually a part Korean Black American singer. He actually made a film about his Korean ancestry called K-Pops. And this is not his first K-pop collaboration. One of my favorite songs from R&B crooner Dean, Put My Hands on You, features Anderson .Paak. You remember that one?
Yeah.
Ooh, sexy. And Anderson just fits so well on this song. It fits his sound. It's kind of like a old school 80s 70s funky beat, so groovy. And Anderson sings the entire hook and maybe a verse as well, so I kind of wish it were a little more equal. It sounds like an Anderson song featuring GD, but I am bopping to it. Love it and what it represents for G-Dragon.
Yeah, and you forgot to mention that Karina is in the music video.
Hey, how could I forget?
Oh my goodness.
Huge cameos from Karina from aespa, as well as Bada Lee, street woman fighter, winner, choreographer extraordinaire, dancer extraordinaire. Check out the video to see those cameos.
Yeah, I loved it. I felt like it had been a minute since I'd seen GD do a couple dance moments, and I feel like even though there was a good distance between them, it wasn't super intimate.
Room for Jesus.
Yeah. They had some nice chemistry in their little moment together. It was really great.
Yeah. GD's not afraid to get in there. So
yeah, I'm also just not
show
thinking about the age difference, but whatever.
No, we don't need to think about that. We're professionals.
Yes,
we're
very professional.
Exactly. So, PD Nim, what is your hit replay?
Well, mine is also from a male soloist, and my hit replay
from the second gen.
From the second gen, I think
Bordering on.
Jejun calls him 2.5 gen. It's not quite 2, but not quite 3.
I can see
they're
that.
In between. But my hit replay is Shia Junsu's Flower. actually kind of like the 10-year anniversary of this song, and so I just like had to bring it in as a hit replay, not just because it's just an amazing track, but it's also just so great to kind of look back on this comeback in particular, especially in this time period, because Junsu at this time, you know, it was 3 years after he had begun his musical career. And if you know Junsu, that has been his main bag for like the majority of his career after leaving TVXQ. Like that was kind of where he put a lot of his like creative energy into his live stage performances in theater. So it was so great to see him bring that to his, you know, artist persona as a musician. So I call this like a master class in like theatrical performance in pop music. Like in the music video, in the song, it's this amazing combination of like hip hop but also like opera vocals, like, and it's just so epic. It also features tableau, which was, you know, a big surprise. I remember when I first listened to it because I wasn't quite sure, especially hearing the snippets from the song, how he was gonna like flow with the Junsu verses, but his verse is like, it makes the song better. Like there was no other person who I think could have done it better than Tableau. So I think it just adds to, again, the mastery of this comeback for me. So I had to share it, especially since it's the 10th anniversary. I don't know.
Happy
Stephanie,
10th anniversary.
Stephanie, do you remember when this song came out?
Of course I do.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was kind of kidding around with PD Nim as we were gearing up for this episode. I said, you have definitely chosen this song as a hit replay before.
It was the
it's
other
just so
songs.
it's such an obvious pick for you. But he's both of our bias, actually. And I vividly remember when I saw this video, it kind of came out around the time where a lot of the songs were sounding the same. A lot of the videos were doing more minimal or black and white concepts, and he was just like, no, I want to do something epic and colorful, big budget, and just like show him how it's done, like theatrical wise. I remember this.
And such like a amazing like world building. Like even though it's like it's just like a 3-minute music video, it feels like there's so many
like
commentaries in the imagery. Like there's like, you know, environmentalism, classism, you know, like just the other possibly, you know, things due to like, I don't know how you treat your body. I don't know, like there's a lot of weird things too, like the fish with the monster head and like the creepy little girl.
Yeah.
Like I have no idea what that's about.
Stretches the imagination.
But that's one of the things that makes it great, is like there's so many interesting interpretations of like what this comeback is.
That's what we love about K-pop. They're willing to go there.
Yeah.
Something you can't imagine.
Yeah, so if you haven't seen it already, please go check out the music video and the album. This is the title track to the Flower album, which was
a great album overall.
Great album.
So many gems in the K-pop archive, in the vault. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess
I think it is time.
Yeah. So we move on to our female soloist of the week. Obviously, last week we talked about Jennie's recent comeback. Now we're moving on to Lisa,
her BlackPink bandmate.
Yeah, and her song "Fuck Up the World," FUTW.
Woke up in that morning again. Please don't call my phone again. Walking causing havoc. Yes, that is a habit. Bad, tragic.
Yeah, so Lisa, she debuted in 2016 with BlackPink. She debuted as a soloist in 2021 with the singles La Lisa and Money. Which, for context as to how well received these singles were at the time, La Lisa became the world's most viewed music video by a soloist in 24 hours, breaking Taylor Swift's record with 73.6 million views in 24 hours and earning her a Guinness World Record for Lisa.
Casual.
And Money, which is the B-side, mind you, to Lalisa,
It's not a B-side to me.
also set a Guinness World Record for the
B for
first
banger.
K-pop track to be by a solo artist to reach 1 billion streams on Spotify. So that just kind of gives you, if you really don't know who Lisa is, it gives you context into how big of an artist she is internationally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now we fast forward to 2023, where she is kind of like, on a hiatus from her solo career, but she's still doing things with BlackPink. I believe they were kind of like on and off touring at this time. And she headlined 5 performances at the Parisian, like the historic Parisian cabaret and burlesque show, Crazy Horse. And so that was kind of this
Ooh, remember those photos?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
This was that moment,
Hot.
I think, is a pinpoint in her career where she kind of like really embraced like the fact that she was a woman and is doing more adult things away from her, idol image, I think, in her at least in her solo career, right? And now fast forward to 2025, and she has finally made her solo comeback with her debut album Alter Ego, as well as her debut in acting on the HBO show The White Lotus. So there's a lot going on for Lisa right now with 2025.
It's been a long road to get here. But like, look at her now. She's always had, I think, a star quality to her. And so now she gets a full album to just stretch out and show what she can do.
Right, which is so interesting because like I have seen the White Lotus, and so I see her on screen, and I just, like, again, having like been looking at this woman for almost a decade, like I can't not see her as Lisa. But it from the at least the official podcast of the show, a lot of the artists or the writers who were talking about her performance are really kind of praising her for being able to come off as like the character and not just like a pop idol playing a character, So she's been getting some good reviews from at least her performance in that show, which is really exciting.
Great. Good for her. All right. Shall we talk about the album itself?
But yeah, so let's get into, again, so this is her debut studio album. It was a co-release with her own label, La Loud and RCA Records.
Is that how you say it? Or did we just make that up? Because
I'm going to say that's how
La
you
Loud?
say it. I actually have never heard anyone say it, but I think it's
correct
two
us.
L's.
Tell us.
It's Lalisa
Because her
Loud.
real
Come
name
on.
is Lalisa, and so we just assumed that the LLOUD would be pronounced
Right.
Loud,
Somebody
but we have
correct
no
us in the
evidence for
comments.
that.
Yeah. Again, her first full album after leaving YG, it features 12 to 19 tracks depending on which version you're listening to. So this is like a really dense album with features from like Doja Cat, Ray, Rosalia, Future, Megan Thee Stallion, and Tyla. So
Star-studded cast here.
Star-studded. And so the kind of main concept of like alter egos revolves around this concept of her having 5 alter egos. So this album had 5 pre-release tracks. So we know Rockstar, New Woman featuring Rosalia, Born Again featuring Doja Cat and Ray, Moonlit Floor, and Fuck Up the World, the main title track that we're talking about today, which also featured Future. And so each of these kind of singles correlates with like a specific alter ego. So Rockstar obviously is the Roxy ego, which is kind of like the rock star personality. Then you have Kiki, which is her empowered personality, Sunny, which is the lover, Speedy, the daredevil, and then Vixie, which is kind of like the main character alter ego, or at least the one that you see the most in this album, who's the villain. And she's the main
me the
character
villain.
in Fuck Up the World music video that we see.
Tell us who your favorite persona is.
Oh, it's
Slack.
kind of hard.
And what do you think, Michaela?
I think it goes between Kiki and Speedy, because Speedy,
Oh, Speedy.
Speedy, her assigned track is Lifestyle, which is kind of like the most, I think, NCT track that she has on the album, in the sense of just kind of.
You heard it here first. NCT Lisa crossover, yeah.
I mean, that's just the best way that I can kind of like describe the chanty, like super electronic sound of the song. Yeah, but do you have a favorite first?
I was just thinking about that, and I'm not sure there's enough differentiation between like Roxy, Vixie, Kiki, and Speedy. Like, I mean, they could all be the same person.
I think if anything, maybe Sunny is the most differential. Like the Moonlit Floor.
Yes,
song
Sunny is a different person.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I liked it. I was that was a pleasant surprise to meet Sunny on the album. I was like, oh, who are you?
She's kind of like the Sabrina Carpenter, like that kind of pop
yes,
girl,
that's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Versus the Lisa that we know as like the hard rap, sexy girly.
Yeah. We know her. That I think Rockstar.
Yeah.
Is kind of the Lisa that we know, and it was really smart, I think, to put that one out first.
Yeah, and we all, if you listen to this podcast, you know that styling for me, at least for Lisa, is my favorite ever. I wish she did more of it.
Top tier, yes. Rockstar Part 2. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like I already knew once you mentioned the alter egos. I was like, there's gonna be merch up the wazoo, right?
Yes, and very specifically, a whole comic book about all 5 of the egos. Got 46 pages. It's the alter ego comic book, and it basically tells the story of how Vicky is trapped in a virtual reality nightmare, and all of the other girls are trying to save her, and it embodies transformation, courage, and unity. At least that's what the press release says.
It embodies.
I have yet to read it. Like they've
alternate revenue streams.
So you can go check it out now if you're interested.
Yeah, sorry for the cynical review there. I will not be purchasing a comic book with this album. But let me know if you read the comic and if the story's any good.
Right? I would hope it's good, because at least she partnered with a company that has done other kind of comic book releases with artists, like I know Metro Boomin. NCT 127 has also collaborated with them for kind of like a comic graphic novel release. So
I see.
I hope it's good.
So how was the album received?
We've got 2 kind of sides. One, obviously, are the very positive reviews. Again, I think from especially people who are more familiar with Lisa, they see this kind of concept as like really refreshing, and getting to see more sides of all of her different kind of genres that she can do. While some people, especially people who are kind of getting introduced to Lisa with this album, are a little kind of confused about what she's about, because she's kind of doing a bunch of things. And especially when it comes to like the lyrics, she's not necessarily saying anything personal or profound,
Yeah.
I mean, the closest we get kind of is Moonlit Floor, but she does not claim that song at all. She's very, very keen to say, I did not write that. It is not my story about a specific Parisian man that she may or may not have been dating.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, so for people again who are getting introduced to her through this album, it felt a little, not necessarily to the level that they were expecting, even though the quality of the music is there.
Yeah, I can see that. It's ambitious to put out such a lengthy album these days. We don't see that from K-pop artists, or global artists, let alone K-pop artists. We don't see this kind of ambitious project where you try to show this many sides of you. So it was maybe a tall order for Lisa to really like hold our attention when she hasn't. Yeah, this is her first foray into that kind of project.
Yeah. But
Yeah, I agree that maybe she or the producing team was trying to cover too many bases, genre-wise, style-wise, or persona-wise. I almost wonder if this album is really her introduction to many American listeners, if she should have gone with one persona. If she should have gone out with her strongest and maybe like one bonus track that hints that there's another side to her. But like, are people who are just now meeting her, are they going to be impressed that she can sing in all of these styles, or are they going to lose track of who she is?
And not just losing track of who she is in the styles, but also in the individual songs themselves. Like, she has some really big features, and especially when it comes to the Ray Doja Cat song, a lot of, at least Doja Cat fans, are really just kind of taking that as Doja Cat's latest single.
Yep.
So she's not only losing, you know, with the amount of collaborations in this album as well. So some people, especially if you're only listening to the title tracks, you know, not that many people are gonna sit down and listen to the whole album. You're not getting as much of Lisa in those songs.
Yeah. And so I'm happy to, you know, we kind of started talking about the lyrics and how she's expressing herself. Happy to dive a little deeper into that. So we are mainly talking about FUTW, Fuck Up the World.
Yes.
This is a brash, in your face, like dropping F-bombs everywhere. I love this for Lisa. It's like she's out of the K-pop decorum dungeon and she can just like blah, 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 just spray profanity all around and have like dance moves to match it. So I'm really loving the amount of F-bombs and profanity. But if we look at the actual like word choice, wordplay, rhyming, I kind of had this comment for Jennie's latest release as well. I was not super impressed with what the lyrics are saying and how they sound or how they roll off the tongue. You know, Fuck Up the World with a beat like that. I would love her to come out swinging with a really memorable line, right? Something that pushes the envelope. But she starts with, "They watch me on the stages. They watch me go crazy." First of all, stages, this is a K-pop Konglish term.
For real.
Like, did no one tell her, like, we got to stop saying, "Watch me on the stages" if you're trying to like slip in and assimilate under? Okay, so that's an open question. If she's trying to slip in and really sound Native American English speaker, did no one catch that in the first line? And just think of how a rapper like Megan or Glorilla or Doechii would like bust out onto the track. Their first line would be something that makes you stop and think, something memorable, and then you build up to the hook, and the last line before the hook would be something wild as well that you really want to say. And I'm reminded here of how some of the most memorable lines in all of BlackPink's discography are delivered by Lisa's raps.
Right?
But she doesn't have to do the whole song. Lisa delivers these like 3 or 4 line phrases in BlackPink songs, like timed right at the climax, and then she dips. Brr, Rambo.
Right.
Okay, and then she's out. If she has to do a whole song in rap, now we're kind of seeing the limits. We're kind of seeing where she has to just fill in some fluff in there. Not every line is gonna hit at the level that we would like to see from her. Looking at some of the, I don't know if you had thoughts on the lyrics of this song in particular before I move on?
No,
You're on the same page.
I pretty much am on the same page. With Stephanie.
Oh, yeah. The hook is fun.
Right.
Yeah, the verses could use work. I think Lisa or whoever's writing the lyrics could like practice more on the rap game. You know, it's not just enough to find words that rhyme.
Right.
This art form is about creating something, pushing something, provoking people, edginess.
Mm-hmm.
And sadly, I'm hearing, besides the F-bombs, I'm hearing some like K-pop play it safe level rapping.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing kind of vanilla. And yeah.
Some people there was one review in specifically that compared her rapping to Miley Cyrus in her Bangers album, and how it's filled with like very in their words, shallow American hip hop tropes.
I see that.
Mm-hmm.
I see that, and I hate that for Lisa. I hate the Miley Cyrus comparison, but it's kind of apt, sadly. So it's like her delivery is amazing. Her stage presence, charisma on point. We need to up level the quality of these lyrics.
Right, because she is a very talented artist.
Yeah,
like in her stage presence, her performance, her serving face, like all of it.
Yeah.
Like it's not necessarily that these lyrics are a reflection of any of that other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder who the writing team is and like what is their process. Would love to get behind the scenes on that. And to go back to what you shared earlier, some reviewers are like, hey, we're not really getting a sense of who she is. That's part of it too. A lot of the lyrics seem, general, surface level. I did enjoy the lyrics and the flow on Rockstar a little more. I find that there's a little more creativity there. Been on a mission, boy, they call me catch and kill. I'm stealing diamonds, make them chase me for the thrill. Been MIA, BKK, so pretty. Every city that I go is my city. I think that's like one level up. I'm like, we're getting there. That rolls off the tongue. It's kind of catchy. There's a roll and a punch, with the line. I'm like, yeah, that's what I come to Lisa for.
Yeah, so Roxy is a better rapper than Vixie. So
Perhaps.
Vixie should probably stop rapping and leave it to Roxy.
Perhaps. Yeah. Let me see. What else do we got here? The Rapunzel lyrics. When I walk by, I hear him say, that's money, that's motherfucking money. And I put this through my mind. I'm like, okay, if like Doechii said that, would it be cool? Maybe, but not really. She wouldn't say it like that. So plain. There would be something like, there would be something tasty about what she does with the flow or with the word choice.
And it's almost a little confusing as to what she's even talking about specifically. Because is it just that she's looks wealthy, or is successful, like, or is there something more to it?
Yeah,
that we just can't necessarily get because it's not necessarily presented poetically.
Totally.
Although I will say in Lisa's defense, at least when it comes to the fact that there's less personal, the lyrics aren't necessarily to talking about anything super profound. That is, I think, one of the things that maybe separates her from her other bandmates, is that she's not gonna be a rosé, I'm gonna take my journal lyrics and make them into an album. She's not necessarily the same kind of rapper that Jenny is. Like, I think one of the things that she is about is creating music that people just want to have fun to, and she can perform and make a great performance out of. So with that, I kind of give her a bit more of a passive lyric quality just because of her skill, especially as a performer, and what this music is intended for in performance.
Yeah. I would totally go see her live show.
Yeah.
Regardless. And I would be singing
100%.
along too. That's
Yes.
motherfucking money. Yeah. Just keeping it real.
Right.
It's meant for live. It's not meant for, just listening and contemplating in your home.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm like, why am I being so hard on her? Am I this hard on other pop hip hop stars? I guess I had like really high hopes for her album in particular.
Yeah.
Given her stage presence and charisma, like I really wanted to be able to like show my people, show non-K-pop fans, yeah, this is who I.
Right. Especially since, again, how this album is tied with her performance on The White Lotus. She just performed at the Grammys with Ray and Doja Cat. So again, the embargo has been lifted after Jennie's release came out, as Peter said. So she's getting this wave of press coverage for this release and this album. So it's, we wanted to just support her full-heartedly. But
yes.
I do think though, I wanted it reminded me that she did this interview with a Thai MC named Woody, and she talked about that when she did this album, she really left her comfort zone in Korea and had to work with a team who didn't know her at all. So like the first process, even before they started making music, was just breaking that ice and really kind of like figuring out, what she or the producers like getting to understand her. So I think maybe if this process kind of started with working with all new people who didn't necessarily know or have more of a reference for what kind of artist Lisa was to begin with, that could be maybe why there might be a disconnect between at least maybe the lyrical quality or certain genres that people are thinking are necessarily coming through with this album, at least.
Yeah. All right. So where Lisa shines is undoubtedly on the stage, and that is tied 100% to the level of her dancing. The way she takes up space with her body, the way she creates lines and shapes with her super long legs and arms, the way that she hits poses with so much power. So I feel like the choreography for FUTW was like created just for her, just to highlight the way that she can hit shapes, especially triangles, and then loosen them into body rolls. I'm curious who the choreographer is for this. I enjoy it. I think it's going to be big on TikTok. I can already see the choreography for this being a hit among, Peter's favorite, the girls and the gays.
Yes.
At the K-pop gigs where all the cover groups come to perform. I look forward to seeing especially the gays take this on. For sure.
Did we want to talk about the visuals of the music video at all? Because,
sure.
Joe,
we should.
Joe in our Slack mentioned Sin City. I'll be honest, I have not seen that film.
Me neither.
So I don't know necessarily if he's correct, because for me at least, it gave me a lot of like Harley Quinn, Joker, all the recent kind of DC superhero villain, Suicide Squad kind of, whoever directed that guy who directed that one, like that vibe,
Oh yeah, I think those are very close. Suicide Squad and Sin City. So yeah, I mean my impression of the video was that it was a lot happening.
Yeah.
It was moving a little fast. There's a lot on the screen. It was a little like too much for my brain to process. It just like boom hits you right in the face. But like once I get into it and I start bobbing along and dancing and I catch little hints of the choreo and her hitting, I'm invested in it. But I have to watch it a few times to really see a storyline.
Right, because if
it's
we're
all
thinking
action.
of the comic book talks about this character Vicky, who's the star, of being like trapped, and then the other egos come and save her. In that scene, we see her bust out of the prison or asylum or whatever it is, and then you have that animated scene, right, where she suddenly morphs into all 5 of the egos.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on there? My mind just turned off.
Right. It was a little bit jarring, the visual going from the animation to the real life.
I really overall do not enjoy watching these 2D drawings sing a song in a music video.
Yeah,
I think we should just show looking out a window or something.
The lip sync was not singing.
I just get turned off and turn away.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I will say that I loved about is just the amount of like the VFX shots in it and how they all like worked. Like they didn't necessarily like there was a lot, but they didn't necessarily look like they weren't well composition. Like everything kind of looked almost like movie quality.
That's true.
Right. So definitely a big budget again with this music video.
The budget is budgeting.
As we were debating in Slack about how much this music video maybe cost. Because we know it's definitely multiples of at least 100,000 something.
Oh my gosh, yeah. For sure. I think I would have enjoyed it more if there were fewer scenes, or like the cuts were less often, or something, just to let me savor the outfits, let me savor the different concepts a little bit more. Like I could have done with half of just like but I'm like, what am I thinking? Why am I in K-pop then? Because that's what we do.
Right.
We bombard you.
Right. That's where the K-pop still comes through, even though she's kind of making her international solo career right now. She's still at her core a K-pop artist. Yeah.
I think also what drawing it out could do would be to help build tension in the story. Like to start a little slower. Start a little slower, build up, and then hit us with like this cinematic action movie thing as the hook arrives. Maybe.
Right.
That would be my, if I were editing or producing this, that would be my take on it, because we're not really utilizing something that Lisa shines at, which is her facials, like her being the only thing on the screen. She can command the whole screen, and we didn't really get a chance to have shots like that.
Yeah, also it was very specifically the Vixie version of the song and not the Future feature, which is interesting that she did all these other music videos with other artists and chose, or for whatever reason, Future was the only feature that didn't feature in the music video. It just, choices. Yeah.
Well, it's somebody's choice. Maybe he chose to not be in it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's also possible.
Yeah. Never know. There's always some drama behind the scenes.
Right. But are we missing out then on Future not being in the music video?
In the video?
Because I think, well, for one, the FUTW is produced by ATL Jacob, and his songs, his production has like one of the reasons why Future has the career that he has, because of he's like they go together as far as like the music that Future is known for. So the fact that she's on this song, which is so heavily influenced by that producer specifically, is just it feels like a little bit of shame.
Yeah. Akapta. Oh.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm pretty sure more content will come out around this song. We're looking for dance practice. We're looking for remixes. We're looking for different versions. I'm sure we have not seen the last of FUTW. My favorite move is when she says, fuck up the world. And she like does like two versions of the fuck you. in the dance, like having your like bending your elbow so that your elbow is like facing forward, and then your other arm like slaps onto your bicep. Like that's a FU. And then I think the middle finger is up on the on the forearm, and you're just like hitting it. Fuck up the world, fuck up the world. Oh, that's so satisfying. I was like, yeah. Yes, that was pleasing to me.
Right. Oh, we need Lisa. Please give us the performance version.
Performance version. Yes, we want to see you. See it in the light. I know, it was too dark in there.
So dark.
I can't even see her. And the glow in the dark painting on her was not enough.
Not enough.
Please hear our cries, Lisa.
Yeah. So of course, wrapping up this episode, let's let our listeners know where they can find us on social.
All right, you can find me on Instagram at Catchlight27.
And I'm at PDNim on our Slack, and you can find all of us, of course, at the Kpop Cast Slack.
Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive into Lisa's debut full-length album. If you want to support this show, please consider donating to our Ko-fi. Link to that in the description.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye y'all.